Welcome to video 4 of the Getting Started series of videos for Warboard. In this video we're going to cover uploading issues to Warboard using the XML file format. We'll go into quite a bit of detail and some tips and tricks at the end, how you can make Warboard work for you and the way you manage issues. Okay. So first of all, Warboard is an online collaboration platform. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to warboard.co.uk. But at the simplest level, it's an issue management platform. So it's a dashboard for issues on a construction project. You can report upon issues, keep track of issues, see who's responsible for issues, who hasn't closed out issues, and you can dashboard it and produce some nice reports very quickly. So again, if you want to learn more, it's warboard.co.uk, or if you click on one of the video links below, which is video 01 in this series, we'll give you a bit more of an overview of what Warboard is. But the intention of this video is to go into very specifically the XML import option. So there's various ways to get your data into Warboard. We have a Navisworks plugin tool, which is super simple. It's a plugin for Navisworks, which allows you, with a press of a button, to sync your issues straight into the project on Warboard. I'll cover that in a little bit of detail on this video. Benefits of it, the benefits of the XML. Each has its own benefits depending on your project, your software, etc. So what we're going to cover in this video is the XML import from Navisworks. We also support BCF, Building Collaboration Format, which is supported by the Open BIM initiative, which means regardless of what software platform you're using, if you can generate a BCF file, which is an open building smart file type, means you can upload your issues into Warboard exactly the same as I'm about to show you using XML. But again, there's a video below if you want more information on the BCF import. And the fourth option is a manual upload. So you can't upload manual issues into Warboard. But again, in this video, we're going to cover the XML import options. So the way the import works, unlike our cloud tool, where you can sync your issues directly from the software, it's an export format. So you have Navisworks. And what you do in Navisworks, you can export a XML report. You can then upload that report to Warboard and it will populate Warboard with all those issues. So we're going to go through that now. I'm going to walk you through that process and give you some tips and tricks to help you get started. So in Warboard, I've got a typical project open on the screen here. And in this project, there's various models. Now, I've already ran some clash detection on this. And if we go and, again, I'm not here to teach Navisworks. The intention of this video is to show Warboard and how to sync your issues. But you can see I've got various clash sets, MEP versus structure, MEP versus structural concrete. And then it's got all these issues here which you can kind of go through. All these have been resolved. Funny enough, here's some active ones. So you can kind of see we've got a pipe or track going through a upstand, pipe going through the underside of a beam, etc. So again, in Navisworks, we went through, we've grouped these, we've named them, etc. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sync this with Warboard. So let's go to Warboard first. Let's log in. And let's create a new project for the purpose of this demo. So let's go to new project. We'll call this XML upload demo video project. I'll do project, and we'll put this is a can't spell this is a demo Warboard XML important. Again, if you already got a project on Warboard, you can sync with that. You don't have to create a new project. I'm just going to pick a modern report style. I can pick any, doesn't really matter. We'll go into that in a future video. I'm going to click create project. What Warboard's done is created a project. So if I now go to my projects, scroll to the very bottom, you can see XML upload demo project. What I'm going to do is go into this project, and you can see it's blank. So in this project, there's no data being synced with it. In CP, there's no charts because there's no data. You kind of chart with no data. In clash tests, there's no clashes or no issues in there. So the first thing we're going to do is going to upload some issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Navisworks. And in Navisworks, we're going to go to report. So we've found the issues, we've did our normal name and our normal clash management inside Navisworks. Again, there's a video on this in the future if you want to learn more about ways to find issues in Navisworks, how to use Navisworks. We will be doing a follow-up video on that. But the purpose of this video is just to show how to get these issues out of Navisworks and into Warboard. So we found all these issues. So there's 65 clashes, 18 new, 11 active, 2 reviewed, 1 active, 32 resolved. What we're going to do is we're going to click on report. And in here, what's quite important is to make sure all these on the left are ticked. So this is basically the data it's going to export in this file. And Warboard wants to know all this, so wants to know kind of what level it's on, the distance, the clash point, the date it was found. All this information is really useful. So let's make sure you have grid location ticked and all. So all this data comes through onto your reports. So even if Warboard doesn't use any of this data, still tick it, and we'll just kind of parse it off at our end. Also, this is quite important, include these statuses. So if you click resolved here, what it's going to do is it's going to export all the resolved issues in this model. So you can see in this clash set there's 33 issues. Now, I would argue that you don't need to import them into Warboard and report upon them, because if they've been resolved, the last thing you want to do is print out a PDF or fill your project up with issues which no longer exist. So I tend to, I mean, it's personal preference, but I tend to untick that. It's still going to pull out this figure. This figure is still going to be used in Warboard. So you'll notice resolved is 33, if we remember that. The only thing to understand is this just means it's not going to export out the individual images and the actual issues. Typically, you don't need them. The other thing is, just to be aware of, this clash group headers, you'll see if I go back to my results, the way I do my clashes is I group them. So instead of having 10,000 clashes, what I tend to do is I group them into issues. So in this clash here, there's probably, that's a bad example. If I go into this one, again, that's a bad example. So let's go find one which is a good example. There's a good example. No, that's a bad example. Let's go to a good example. Bad example. Here we are. This is a good example. So in this clash here, that's the problem. The problem is pipework hitting column. Now I could do an individual clash for this bit of pipe, this bit of pipe, this T piece that will be in here. It's 1, 2, 3 clashes for one issue. So what we tend to do is we group these into groups. So you're not reporting on 10,000 clashes. You're reporting on 100 issues, for example. Makes it a lot more manageable. And there's quick ways to automate this, which we'll cover in a future video. I just thought it's worth understanding that Warboard does support clash groups or individual clashes or a combination of both. It doesn't really matter. So we can see we've got our issues. Let's go back to report. So this is what this option does. Clash group headers only. It's only going to bring out the group header, which is typically what you want to have ticked. Down here, you've got an option, all tests combines a current test. In this demo, I want to bring all these issues into Warboard, so I'm going to tick all tests combined and XML, write report. Now, what you can do is you can export individual tests. If I only want to export this top one, I can do that, export out, because I might have different view styles on each one. So if you want this one as it is now, to show it in context, but if you want on the one below it to have it so it's hidden like this, you want this turned off. Now, that's when you'd want to export individual clash tests. So what you'd do is you'd export each one of these individually with a different view, depending how you want it visually to appear. And then what you would do in the next step, which I'm about to show you, you put all them inside a zip file and upload to Warboard. In this case, I'm just going to upload them all tests combined because let's pretend I have no view overrides on here. Everything is not hide over and dim over, because I've been in and set all these views up. So all tests combined XML, and I'm just going to click write report. Now, what I'm going to do in here is save these inside a folder, XML demo video. And what I'm going to do is rename it. You don't have to rename it, but I like to rename it. I'll just call it main XML and click save. Now, what Navisworks is doing is exporting all those issues to XML file format, and we'll see that in a second. So you can see it's exported hundreds of issues very, very quickly there. What I am going to say is everything we've done up to now isn't to do with Warboard. This is standard Navisworks clash detection functionality. The next step is we're going to push this data into Warboard. There we go, so it's exported. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and look at that file. So here we are in that same directory. And what Navisworks has produced is an XML file, and if we open that up, it's basically a lot of it's a standardized data schema. You can see it looks like lots of code if you're not sure what you're looking at, but it is structured data. What it also exports is all those clash views with all the markups on. Oops, and I've closed it out. So that's default. Let's go back to my desktop and find that folder again. Data modified. Let's go find where have I saved it there, clash demo. So yeah, so that's what Navisworks exports default. Now what we need to do with these files is we need to zip them up. So I'm just going to use 7-zip, click add to demo, add to, yeah, set.zip. It's going to zip those files up. Yeah. What I'm going to also do is I'm just going to rename that. You don't have to, but I've got OCD, so I like to be organized. So I've zipped those two files up. Navisworks has split these files out, the XML and the folder. Drop both the folder and the XML into a zip, as we've got there. This is the file we're going to upload to Warboard. So you can see very quickly export from Navisworks, zip the two files together, upload to Warboard. If you export your clash sets manually, you export all your files to the project. You're probably going to have multiple folders, one for each class set, multiple XMLs. Put all them in the zip file. Warboard will handle them and know what to do with them. So now let's go to Warboard. So to upload XML to Warboard, what we need to do is go to the project, click on clash sets, and what we're going to do is we're going to click on upload here. I'm going to click upload, and the first thing it's going to ask us before it lets us select a zip file, see, it does not let me select that button. It's in, I want to know the number of attributes. Now, the simplest way to explain attributes are how many elements are in your Navisworks model. Warboard needs this information because it reports upon how complex your model is, and when it's running the algorithms to determine how coordinated the building is as a percentage, it uses that data against the number of clashes. So for example, a client might say, is my building coordinated? Now I might say, yes, it's really well coordinated, there's only 1,000 clashes. That sounds bad, but in reality, if there's 2 million objects or elements in that model, that's quite well coordinated. But on the other hand, if there's 10, I might say to the client, yes, there's only 10 issues remaining in the model. That might sound really good, but the problem is, if there's only 100 elements in the model, that's 10% or more, because it's 2 elements minimum clashing each time. 20% of the model is uncoordinated. So what we need to do is upload the number of attributes. And I'm going to show you how to do that. If you use our Navisworks plugin, this is fully automated, but I'm going to show you how to do it, because we can't do anything till we enter the number in here. Now I can just go and type 1, but really you want to go and do it properly. So let's go back to Navisworks. Let's just click on Home. So we've got the whole model in front of us here. And what we're going to do to find the number of attributes, a lot of people would just select all and go down here, how many elements have we got? Don't do that, because you'll find, depending on how you have Navisworks set up, you'll get different results every time. So the way to do it is to click on Find Items. Now I'm using an NWD, but make sure you have all the individual files ticked. Just click Item, tick None, and then Defined. So Item, None, Defined. Then just click Find All. What it's then going to go and do is see how it's selected everything? So now if we click on Properties while everything's still selected, it gives us a figure here, and this is the number of attributes, a number of elements in the model. So if we now go, so 645027, so we go 645027, and then it now lets us upload a zip file. So we click Select Zip. We can go to the folder we went to before, so let's go to Desktop, and let's go to XML demo video, and there's the zip file we created. So we're just going to select that and click Upload. Warboard will then push all that data up to Warboard, and we'll get a little message up here. What it says is, yep, we've got your information. We'll drop you an email when it's been parsed by our server. So what that's doing is, behind the scenes, Warboard has received your zip file, your XML results. It's been put in a queue, and we'll get an email when it's ready to be reviewed. Typically, that whole process takes about 10 seconds. So within 10 seconds, that's why I'm waffling on. Within 10 seconds, we'll get an email, and that'll be ready to be reviewed. Now, I don't have my email client open on here. So what I'm going to do is just refresh the screen and see if it's done it yet. So it hasn't done it yet, so we'll wait another few seconds. There, nope, still not there. And it all depends how busy our server is. Like I said, you shouldn't be waiting more than 20 seconds. Let's refresh again. Let's try again, refresh. And there we go. So what this is now telling me is, you can see on here, 58, 20, 80 resolved, 166. And it's now showing the latest information. It's in its OK coordinated. There's the latest stats. And this chart, and the chart here isn't shown yet, because to show the chart you need to have at least 2 uploads, and I'll show you that in a second. But the important thing is, now we're starting to get the data into Warboard. And if we click on clash tests, you'll see it's pulled through the clash tests from Navisworks. And if we click on view, you can start to see it's pulled through those issues nicely. And it also pulls through any names which has been assigned in Navisworks as well, which is good. Now you also get the grid location, the clash point, and even the object IDs if you need them to find those elements in your native software. So yeah, so that's a very quick way to sync with Warboard. So let's just jump back a second. So yeah, it's OK coordinate, and that's why we're using the attribute data to calculate that based off the number of elements. So if we jump back to the presentation. So that's an overview of how to upload your issues via XML. We do have a Navisworks plugin which allows you to click on a button in Navisworks and sync them straight to Warboard. What I would say is, if you have lots of tens of thousands of clashes, the XML way is a much faster way of doing it, because as we send the information over to Warboard via our plugin, it freezes Navisworks while it sends that data over. Obviously, the XML way, you export to XML, takes a couple of seconds, then upload to Warboard, takes a couple of seconds, then we process it behind the scenes. So it's a lot more quicker if you want to continue working while you're doing it. So that's our XML upload method. In the next video, we're going to cover BCF upload, which is very similar to the method I've just shown you. So if you click on the link below, we'll move on to BCF.